Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is in honor of Valentine's Day, which is actually in just a few days. Last year I made a video about the history of Valentine's Day, so if you're interested in that, it will be linked down below for you guys. This year I decided to incorporate two of my favorite things, chocolate and history, and make it into one video that I felt was appropriate for Valentine's, because who doesn't like getting chocolate on Valentine's Day, right? So this story is about the chocolate bombers during the Berlin airlift, and it's actually a really neat story. So I hope you like it. If you do, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, I hope you have a great Valentine's Day and that you get to spend it with someone that you love. And that's it. So let's get started. So in February of 1945, the Big Three, which included Franklin D. Roosevelt, Joseph Stalin, and Winston Churchill, all met at Yalta to discuss the post-war world. During the conference, they decided that Germany had to be divided into 4 occupation zones, and that France, along with Great Britain, the United States, and the Soviet Union, would each occupy and control a different sector. Berlin, which was deep within the Soviet zone, was also divided, and the Western Allies had access to their sector of the city by driving through the Soviet zone. Now, the relationship between the Western Allies and the Soviet Union was on shaky grounds even before the end of the war, and by the summer of 1948, that alliance had completely crumbled. Stalin closed off all of the access roads into Berlin, and he left 2 million people without any food, fuel, and other necessities. President Truman and the other allies decided that withdrawing from Berlin was not an option, and since they could not supply Berlin through the ground, they would use the open air corridors to supply their sector of the city from the air. So the collaborative effort between Great Britain and the United States to supply Berlin became known as the Berlin Airlift. Airplanes leaving from West Germany flew into 2 different airports in West Berlin, and they carried all of the supplies the West Berliners needed in order to survive. By the end of the blockade, which happened May 12, 1949, the Allies had supplied West Berlin with 2.3 million tons of cargo. One of the pilots flying during the Berlin airlift was named Gail Halvorsen. He was born in Salt Lake City on October 10, 1920. Halvorsen grew up on a farm, and after getting his pilot's license, he joined the Army Air Corps in 1942. Halvorsen participated in World War II and was actually stationed in Alabama when he received orders to report to Germany. So after finishing his flights for the day, Halvorsen returned to Tempelhof to do some sightseeing. He was taking footage of the airplanes when he noticed a group of kids against the fence, and after speaking to them, he wanted to do something special for them, so he promised to deliver a package the following day. When the kids asked how they would recognize his airplane, Halvorsen also said that he would wiggle his wings in order for the kids to know that it was him. When Halvorsen returned to Rhine-Main Air Base in the US sector of Germany, he went to the exchange and used his rations card to buy all of the chocolate he was allowed to in order to deliver it to the kids the following day. Halvorsen also decided to tie handkerchief parachutes to the chocolate because he knew that dropping candy out of an airplane could be dangerous, and he did not want to hurt any of the kids. The next day, as Halvorsen came into Tempelhof, he saw the children waiting by the fence. Halvorsen dropped the chocolate out of his window, and he hoped that they would land somewhere where the kids could get them. Eventually, word got out about the chocolate bomber, and more kids began gathering by the fence line. When Halvorsen received his next rations card, he decided to buy more chocolate and make another drop. After his 3rd drop, Halvorsen returned to Rhine-Main Air Base, where he was called into his commander's office. Apparently, a reporter had been hit over the head with a chocolate parachute, and the story was now all over the world. Halvorsen was also called in to see General Tunner, who gave the unofficial operation a stamp of approval, and the operation was given the name Little Vittles. After news broke out about the operation, Halvorsen began receiving candy bars and handkerchiefs from people who had been moved by the story. Pilots in his squadron also began dropping chocolate parachutes, and the letters from children in West Berlin also began pouring in, thanking Halvorsen for his kindness. Operation Little Vittles got so big that American chocolate companies began supplying the candy for the drops. By the end of the blockade, the chocolate bombers had dropped about 250,000 parachutes, which translated to about 20 tons of candy.